Welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about socialist realism, the art market, and the constant struggle as an artist. And you may say, wait, what was it all about? Be patient with me. I'll show you some amazing artworks I have seen today in the National Art Museum. Obviously, National Art Museum is the best art museum in the whole nation, as it's National Art Museum. I was immediately greeted by the professional staff. They swiped my ID card and immediately I could enter without paying, without reserving the ticket. Everything was super fast and flawless, and I went through the security check and I went inside of this large, beautiful hallway with a lot of exhibitions. I went to see 3 different exhibitions. On the ground floor, there is this Tibetan art, we call it Tangka, which is very unique to the Tibetan area, the Buddhist believers. I'm not a believer myself, but I loved and enjoyed those beautiful colors and this glossy, golden, very eye-catching, bold colors, and those very much in detailed depiction of the other world, or I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, you can imagine that, it's not the realistic depiction of the world today, but it's their world. I enjoyed it, and then I went to see on the top floor there is a very famous Chinese artist Qi Baishi, and his exhibition. He is, I think, the most prominent, important Chinese traditional painter in the contemporary era. I don't know so much about Chinese watercolor painting, but when I saw those paintings, I could still recognize that it had something that is different, that other people didn't have. The touch was so light and so beautiful. Okay, actually, I wanted to show you these 2 exhibitions just to lead you to the third one. This collection of artworks would be commonly referred to as the socialist realism. I grew up inside of this socialist realism world, and this was the normal kind of art to me. I mean, this was the Chinese art. This art style was created in Russia and then passed to China within the system of ideology, Marxism, books. The whole system was transferred to China as like a package. So we kind of inherited this, and we developed our own version from the late 40s into perhaps the early 90s, and then we stopped. In the 90s, because of the open market policy, China opened its door to the West, and all other kind of Western contemporary art came in and changed everything. So I would say our socialist realism was from the 40s to the 90s, and during these 50 years you could see we have different styles, different eras, and different kind of like blend with different things. All of those works were very good, otherwise they wouldn't be collected by the best museum, the National Museum in China. You can see some works were more dark because it was about the war, the Civil War, the Second World War, and all that constant struggle of survival, in the 50s and then in the 60s. And then after that you can see some works slowly become more vivid and more happy, and you can see some more international. You can see even like the Olympic medalists of China, and that was a touch of internationalism, and it's different. You can see different kind of things, and I'm going to show you in this video some of my favorite works that you can see. Normally, when I saw this kind of work, I wouldn't be thinking about the art market and constant struggle as an artist, because there wasn't at that time an art market back then. That's why we have socialist realism, right? But then I saw this artwork and I felt like a hit in my head. The story of this artwork was a group of artists trying to make masculine sculptures, large scale for the public art. So the idea of this artwork, you can see that it must be something very masculine, strong, very cold, like rocks. But the touch of the lightness of this picture and the almost romanticism of this picture was very different from any other artworks in this era. And I was so interested, and also I was trying to know, did the artist try to paint something very soft, very feminine in the world of masculinity? At that time, the trend, the mainstream, the market was the masculine. You can see that other works very strong, very like rude, and very motivational, and that was the mainstream. And if an artist wanted to survive, you have to go to the mainstream. Like today, if you want to survive, you have to go to the market. And many artists complained and they didn't want to go to the market. Now look at this artist, what he did. He did what he wanted. He wanted to do a romantic touch. He wanted to do something light, beautiful, soft. And he couldn't do it out loud because he would be rejected by the market, and at that time the consequences could be very costly. So he did what he wanted, yet blend what was behind this veil, behind this cloth, behind this, fog or whatever that he decided to cover, the masculinity, the part that he didn't quite want to show it and shout it out loud. And this blend was very smart. And I think today you could still learn from what you can see in this artwork, is that you can be smart with your strategy, with your approach to the market. So you can do a compromise between what is the market wants you to do, masculinity, whatever. Like today is the pop, perhaps pop art, colorful, large-scale sculptures, and that Damien Hirst style, Koss style, whatever style that is trending. But you don't want to do that because that wouldn't be you. Instead, you can blend whatever you are doing and just give it a slight touch of the trend, the mainstream, the market, and to be more open. Because you don't have to do what others are doing to get the money. You can still do what you want to do, but not ignoring what is happening around you. I mean, this artist, if he ignored what other people are doing, he would be starving, and his family would be starving, and his life would be miserable, and he would never be collected by the National Museum. He would not even exist. He would just evaporate. I'm so glad he did what he had to do. He compromised so people like me could have the chance to admire his work in a very beautiful location, well presented among the masters of different era. And if you were him, what would you do? Would you reject the market completely? Would you blend what the market demands into your current system? That's all what I want to share with you today. If you have any questions regarding to art style, the market, and how to market your art, all of that questions, leave me a comment below and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.